Hello, are we here? Are we live? I can't believe it. I'm actually using a new streaming service called StreamYard. Hopefully I am live and you can see me. If you guys can see me, I would love it. If you would comment and give me some emojis, some hearts or some fire emojis. You'll also hear my dogs. He's feeling a little frisky right now. But I'm going to check and see if we are actually live on Facebook. It looks like I am. I can see myself. Okay, good. Okay, so that's Gibbs, and he's got a mouth. Hopefully he won't be too noisy, but if he is, just know that I have dogs. Okay, so the first thing, hey, Gibbs, go lay down, bud. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk about congestion today, the 4 types of congestion and how to clear it out and hopefully keep it gone for good. So during these times right now with this crazy virus, the COVID-19, you may be feeling a little, and I've been talking about this for weeks, a little bit of fear around anything that happens with our body. So like today, this morning, I woke up, and I know it's because I actually snored a lot last night, which is not beautiful, but I woke up with some congestion in my throat and having to clear my throat and things like that. So I know that this is perfect timing. Things always happen for a reason. I'm going to talk about all the ways that we can first identify the types of congestion and how to get rid of it. But isn't it funny that I woke up with some congestion? So anyway, the one thing that I want to really drive home is that we don't have to have fear around any of these things that happen to us, because likely it's just our body clearing out some gook or whatever's going on, right? So we have an immune system, and if it's properly functioning, then you can get past any little hurdle that you have without having to resort to fear, like, oh my gosh, this is the start. This is something I know if I have this congestion, it's going to move into my chest and I'm going to get the COVID-19 virus and, you know, all these different things, especially if you're plugged into the media. So be sure that the first thing that you think about is this is normal and I can get past it. I can normally just go right into my routine of drinking hot teas or, you know, whatever it is that when I'm going to get into all the different steps and how to clear it in just a moment. But I just want to make sure that you guys realize that whatever you think about, you bring about. And I've told you this before, that if there is something that is occupying your mind and there is fear around it, it is likely that you can bring on those symptoms, or even if if it lasts for a long time where you are just centered in this fear-based emotion that is literally going to affect your body in a negative way. It can compromise your immune system. So again, I can't actually see if you guys are giving me with this new streaming service. If you're giving me the hearts and the thumbs up, I would prefer the hearts, please. The reason that I'm asking for comments and for emojis is it actually gets into other people's feeds. It helps the algorithm so that my face can be seen on other people's feeds. So I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So also, if you want to comment, someone just said, good morning, whoever it is. Hello, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. You do have to give permission to StreamYard so that I can see who you are. And you only have to do it one time, and then it will always happen. I can see who you are. So we'll get used to this. I've got about 4 people watching, so please give me all the emojis. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. So let's jump right in. Again, I just talked about the fear stuff, but just remember, keep the fear at bay, unplug from media, social media even, and hopefully you won't be sucked into that fear stuff that can actually and absolutely affect your immune system and get you to some place where you're not going to love it. Okay, so see what I mean? I got it. I've got some congestion in my throat. So let me take a sip of water. Okay, so the 4 types of congestion, that first one is going to be the excessive mucus and phlegm that is actually in your chest and in your lungs. That typically happens when you are getting sick, you know, whether it's the common cold or if you're going to move into a flu type situation, whatever it is, it's really just the very beginnings of when you're getting sick. Now, that's the first kind, where it's just excessive, right? You're coughing, you're sneezing, it's buildup, it's usually blocking everything. But really it's that restriction and inflammation in your chest. That's what I'm talking about with this first type. Okay. And the second one, you know, and actually let me move back to that congestion in your chest. It could also be not just from getting sick, but also pollution, chemicals, and smoke, even campfire smoke, or if you are an actual smoker and smoking cigarettes. You can have all kinds of mucus and excessive phlegm because of those things, especially if you're a smoker. You know, that morning hack, that cough, yikes. That is definitely something that's more chronic and not something that you're going to move through pretty quickly. But do know that all of those things are part of tamping down of your immune system. And because of it, it can cause other problems down the road. So we do want to make sure that if you are experiencing any kind of excessive mucus or phlegm in your chest, that you address it. Okay. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment. The second type of congestion is in your sinuses, in your nasal passages. And this can lead to all kinds of nasal pressure, sinus pressure, and migraines, even stuffy nose, runny nose. You get it. You know what it's like to have this kind of congestion. And typically that happens from allergies and colds, even, of course, we know that, even sinus infection, if it's a bacteria, anything like that. But one thing with the allergies, I don't know, for some people, it's a lifelong battle with allergies. And the allergies usually start off just here in the sinuses and moves into having a cold or respiratory infection, all of those things. That's why we really need to address allergies at the base, or the root cause of what is actually causing those allergies to take place in, you know, first of all. Okay, so how do you do that? We'll get into that again in just a moment. I want to run through all the 4 different types. So the third one is the throat coat, which is what I was just talking about, that I'm experiencing this morning. And again, I think it is definitely because I was snoring last night, apparently a lot. So that is definitely having an effect. I know sometimes when I wake up and I'm like, oh, you know, even my glands will sometimes get a little swollen, and that's definitely because of all the friction that's happening from the snoring process, and it can cause some congestion. So that's not something we typically talk about or even know, but snoring can definitely give you some congestion, that throat coat. And especially, here's another thing that you may not really know about the throat coat thing, and I think this is just a thing that I made up, calling it the throat coat, because people, or even doctors and medicine MDs, they tend to lump that all into the chest congestion and the excessive mucus and phlegm that happens in your lungs and in your chest. But this is completely different. It can feel almost restrictive, even like there's a plug or something that's, you know, right down here in the back of your throat, and you're like, oh, if I could just clear my throat enough or cough enough, that will come out or come up. But there are different ways to go about it, but there are also things that are happening nutritionally that can also cause this throat coat to happen, or this plug in the back of your throat. And it's not, of course, always just about snoring, but it can happen with food. So if you have food sensitivities or allergies, it can happen with dairy. And a lot of us don't even realize how much dairy affects us and causes inflammation and congestion in our bodies, not just in our throat and in our chest, but full on inflammation in our entire bodies can happen just from eating or drinking dairy. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of times you've probably heard, or even have been told, or even told your own kids, that if you're sick, don't drink dairy or don't eat ice cream or whatever it is, you know. And let me just tell you something. I did a little search yesterday while I was preparing my talk, and I was 10 pages deep into Google, and they're trying to convince you, and I'm saying they, meaning the dairy industry, is trying to convince you that dairy does not cause inflammation and excessive phlegm. So how's that for misinformation or disinformation? It's propaganda, you guys. It's propaganda. And I don't have a problem calling this crap propaganda, because that is exactly what it is. They're trying to convince you that what you know inherently, intuitively in your body is not real. Okay. So if you're sick, I even saw one article that said, if you're sick and you feel like eating ice cream, go ahead and do it. It's not going to cause you any kind of additional phlegm. The only phlegm you're experiencing is because you're sick, and it has nothing to do with eating or drinking dairy. Wrong answer. It absolutely does. Okay. So you don't even have to be sick to experience the extra throat coat or phlegm and inflammation in your body just from eating dairy. Okay. So keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But also sugar. So sugar can even cause that inflammation, and your body's response could be congestion and this throat coat, or any, even in the sinuses getting clogged up, all that kind of stuff. So absolutely, food allergies and sensitivities play a part in congestion. And congestion, like I said, can happen in many different parts of the body. So the fourth one is lymph congestion. And this again can happen from what, if you're starting to feel sick or get sick, your lymph system kicks in and starts to really help to clear out any toxins or anything that could be causing this congestion. And in the process, if it's overreactive, or if you have something maybe that's a little more advanced or chronic, you could have lymphedema, which is really when you start to feel in your arms and your legs. A lot of times it is in the legs where that inflammation, you have this puffy, soft, gushy like feeling that's a little bit different from inflammation that happens from an injury. But when you have a backed up lymph system where it's creating congestion and the lymph's not able to actually move properly, you have a buildup and it causes swelling in your limbs, whether it's your arms or your legs. Typically, like I said, it does happen in the legs, but there are ways to combat that. Okay, there are different things that you can do to help with the symptoms, like wearing compression socks, or getting a little bit of exercise, moving your body, lymphatic massage, even drinking lots of liquids, and just eating properly. Getting some of this stuff out of your diet, like the dairy and the sugar, absolutely helps. So I'm jumping actually right into how do we fix it, right? How do we get rid of it, clear it out, and keep it gone for good? There are definitely some things that can work right off the bat. But let's jump into, okay, so first of all, let's talk about acute and chronic stages of this congestion or inflammation, or this restriction that you could feel when you have an excessive amount of phlegm or mucus in your body. So acute means that it came on all of a sudden, and it's likely going to pass within several days or a week or 2 weeks. It happens, and then you get over it pretty quickly. Your body does its job. It turns on its own ability to heal itself, and you move through that phase of feeling not so great. Now, you can even tell in my voice that I have this throat coat happening. So more water. Thanks for sticking it out with me, you guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, and hopefully I can get to them. I'm going to hopefully address everything. And at the end of this, I am actually starting something next Monday that I hope you'll join me with, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But the acute phase of having congestion, like I said, you can move through it pretty quickly. And if you know what to do and how to attack those symptoms right off the bat, you can move through it really quickly, like in a matter of 24 hours. Okay, it doesn't have to move into a week or 2 week long sickness, or having the cold or flu or whatever it is for that long, or sometimes even longer. You can move through it really quickly if you know what to do and you get the first signs. Like as soon as I'm done with this broadcast, I know what I'm going to do for my throat, and it'll be gone probably by the end of the day, or even midday. It'll be just totally gone. Okay, so what are some natural remedies on how to really get rid of this? Okay, so there's using essential oils, which you can use in a humidifier or a vaporizer, which I love. Not only do I love the scent of the essential oils, but they have real chemical properties to them that can elicit a response inside your body to get you to where you want to be in your health journey. And this is amazing because it's all natural and there are no side effects to using the essential oils when you know about them and you use them properly. Okay, there are some sensitivities if you use a really strong or spicy or hot type of oil and you put it directly on your skin without using a carrier oil. Sometimes that can give you a skin irritation, but really that's typically it as far as adverse effects to using essential oils. The ones that I'm going to talk about are super safe and you can use them in a vaporizer or a humidifier or anything like that. And it can really get rid of a lot of the congestion, whether it's in your chest and lungs, or if it's in your sinuses, or even, you know, just full on body inflammation. It can help to reduce and relieve all of those problem areas. Okay, so what kind of essential oils? My favorite ones to use are eucalyptus oil, lemon, and peppermint. You can use one or the other, you know, just singly, or you can even mix them and find a scent that you really like. They all are really, really good for removing congestion. So if you have a humidifier or a vaporizer, use it. Put the essentials in there, but again, make sure they're really good essential oils, meaning therapeutic grade. They're all organic, all of that. Just make sure the purity is there so that you're not using something that has a chemical or synthetic scent to it, okay? Because that's just going to do more harm than good, okay? So just be sensible about it. You can also, if you don't have a vaporizer, you can also use a pot of hot water and just put a towel over it and put the essential oil right into the water. Be sure that it's not super hot, like super boiling water, because steam, even though it's just steam, it can still, just thinking about it, it can burn your, the steam, if it gets up there, can burn. So just be careful. Make sure that it's not too hot, but that it's enough steam and you can get that essential oil into your body and start relieving the symptoms. You can also rinse your sinuses using a neti pot, or my favorite way, I'm not a fan of the neti pot because I sometimes feel like, you know, that it's just a little too much, but I like the nasal irrigators that you can get from any drugstore. It just kind of is a bottle that has a little top on it that you can just put right up your nostril, up your nose, and you squeeze it. And when you squeeze it, you're not breathing, you're just squeezing it in, and then it comes out the other nostril. Super great for rinsing out any of the environmental pollutants or anything that's causing any of the congestion, or even if there's bacteria or mold spores, any of those things. It's really great to irrigate your nasal passages. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like you're drowning. None of those things. It just is really, really great to, especially during this time, even with this COVID-19, get into the practice to clean out your nasal passages. It doesn't hurt. It takes maybe a minute or two, and it can really save you save you from really feeling like you are coming down with any kind of a sickness. Again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm giving you some reasons to feel fear, but it's just one of those preventative things. So why not do it for preventative reasons, right? So how do you use those? The nasal irrigators or the neti pots? You don't want to use tap water, you guys. That's going to feel horrible. And you really don't even know what's in that tap water. Sometimes it's not the cleanest water. So use either a saline solution or distilled water. And you might want to warm it up a little bit by making sure that, you know, you can, and when I say warm it up, put it in the nasal irrigator and just run it under hot water so that it comes to room temperature so that it's not cold, because cold water going up your sinuses will give you some brain freeze. Not fun. Okay, so what else? Okay, so hot liquids, teas of any kind. You do want to use some herbs, or you could even use a little essential oil like the lemon essential oil, and you can put a little knob of ginger in it. You can boil it so that it really gets that concoction or steeping in there, or decoction, whatever you want to call it, so that when you drink it, you're getting all the benefits of those items that you put in there. So absolutely, lots of liquids in general, but hot teas are really great. And if you use lemon and ginger, even better, because it will cut through that throat coat and the congestion in the rest of your body. See? Clearing the throat. Okay. So the next thing, have you guys done any type of massage for your sinuses? You've probably maybe just done it intuitively when you have a lot of sinus buildup or pressure. It just feels good to kind of press on your face or on your sinuses. And I'm going to show you a couple of things really quickly, but there's so that you can do it yourself and it actually feels good, but you have to make sure that you're using a really light pressure. So don't push too hard because you're actually pressing down on your sinus passages and cutting them off, okay? So you can do massage for not only your sinuses, but also for lymph. So you can also use dry brushing if you've heard of that. If not, just Google it. It's really easy using a dry brush to move lymph throughout your body and get it so that it's not stagnant anymore and it's moving through and doing its job, okay? So when it does become congested, you want to make sure that it does start to move and flow properly, okay? So any kind of massage is good, but for the sinuses, what I love to do, and this is so easy, is very light pressure, okay? Start up into, back into your eyes right here. I don't know if you guys can see me, but I'm pressing on the base or the top of my nose and into my eye socket very lightly, and then just coming down and doing this and just real light. You can even do like a tapping and get the sinuses to open up. But this is really light, you guys. It's no pressure really at all, but you'd be surprised if you are congested in your sinuses. There's even trigger points up here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm pressing like underneath my eyebrows, and then just move out from your eyebrows and just kind of move all the way over and across your eyebrows. It feels amazing, especially if you have that sinus pressure or a headache or a migraine. Doing that on your sinuses feels amazing. So do it. And even if you're just feeling a little bit of congestion or it's just starting to come on, that acute phase like I talked about, doing the sinus massage really does help, and it feels amazing, especially when you feel it draining and you're like, oh gosh, okay, it's moving through now. So then you can move it out quickly. And again, when I talked about those different phases, the acute, there's also the chronic phase. So you guys know that when you're feeling something that has a history to it, or you're experiencing it for a long period of time, that means it is now a chronic issue or situation, and you may need to find some medical help if there's something that you're not sure of, or you might just really need to dive in a little deeper into your nutrition and to using a detox program, which I'm going to talk to you here in just a minute. So some other things on getting rid of congestion, you guys. Dairy, that I just talked about, is one of the main nutrition culprits for creating congestion. So cut it out if you can, especially if you're feeling like this throat coat. I'm not going to have any dairy today, okay? And I really typically don't eat dairy, but occasionally I'll have some cheese, but not today. It's not going to happen. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you'll cut out several things from your diet. And it doesn't have to be forever, but maybe for a period of time. If you cut out the dairy and you cut out the sugar, you will find an immense relief in congestion, not just in your head and your chest and lungs, but throughout your entire body. Inflammation will totally go away. And believe it or not, you may even lose an entire dress size or pant size just by reducing inflammation in your body without even actually losing caloric weight. Okay, so there is a difference between that internal inflammation and losing fat or visceral adipose tissue. Okay, so another way to do it, to go about getting rid of congestion, is using fresh vegetable juice. So green juices. Okay. Yes, you can put some fruit in there, but you really don't want to use strictly fruit juices because it's way too much sugar. Okay. Way too much sugar. So green juices, absolutely. And my favorite one is going to have leafy greens, meaning mostly, believe it or not, lettuce. Okay. So if you use a green leafy lettuce or a red lettuce or even romaine lettuce, love it. It doesn't taste amazing in a smoothie or in a juice if you juice it, but add some lemon, add some ginger, and even maybe a quarter or a half of a green apple, and it will totally, without a lot of sugar, be palatable, and it will definitely get you to cut through that inflammation and congestion in your body. Okay, so those are some really great things. Now, if you do all the things that I just said, you will be able to cut through that congestion really quickly. Okay, but I know what it's like. And we all have a lot of knowledge and information. There's so much knowledge out there. You could probably do any detox program that you wanted to, or you know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it, right? Taking the action, feeling empowered to feel confident enough to get through the system and get to the end of it. Okay, so there's a lot of programs out there that are so long, it's almost just too much overwhelm, right? Just too much. So what I'm planning to do for you guys is do a 4-day really rewarding challenge. Okay, so it's a 4-day detox challenge. It's a guide to reset and recharge your system so that you can actually experience your healthy body and know what it feels like to be free of that congestion and internal inflammation. It's really great to do some type of a detox program, whether it's, you know, a 4-day or a 21-day or 30-day program, whatever it is. You get to choose how long you actually want to do it, and choose it based on how your body actually feels. Okay. So that's why with this program, it's going to be just 4 days, because I want to give you a rewarding system, something that has a guideline and a detailed strategy so that you can do it on your own as many times as you want to throughout the year. Typically, I like to do a cleanse or a detox 3 to 4 times a year because I feel amazing after it. And just because I've done it, I will also lose that inflammation, makes me feel better. I fit in my clothes better. And typically you will also lose a little bit of weight, which is, hey, that's great, right? Let's do it. Let's get into it. It's only, this thing that I'm doing is actually, this 4-day detox is going to start next Monday. So I'm going to put some more information into the group on how to participate. I don't have it all set up just yet, but I will put a link. It's going to be $17, super affordable, and just really pays me for my time. So if you want to join in, I hope you will. It's just a 4-day simple challenge. There will be guidelines, like I said, strategy to follow. And I'll have a special Facebook group that will be just for the detox challenge, and you'll have access to me. You can ask all your questions, get your questions answered, but also have that support so that you can actually execute and know how to do it, so that you don't feel that overwhelm that many people feel when they get all excited and like, yes, I'm going to do a 30-day detox program. And then you get through 7 days and you're like, the hell with that, I'm done. So let me give you the tools and the strategy and the guidelines so that you know how to do it. And then you just follow how your body feels, because the first time you do it, it may only be a 4 or 5-day challenge for yourself. And that will feel like an extremely long time. And then as you get used to it and you understand how to do it and how to get the results, you can go through again and again, and each time get better results. So you can do this detox program for the 4-day challenge, and then in 2 weeks, do it again. And because you just feel like, okay, I get it, and that felt good, and I know how my body feels, and you want to try it again on your own. You will always be able to use these tools to get through any kind of a detox program. And I'm going to give you everything that you need. So you'll have some guidelines, like I said, on nutrition, on what to cut out, what to add, and just the way that I coach. Again, transformational health coaching is going to give you not only where you start, but where you end, so that you can feel and experience the result, so that you can continue on your own. Okay, you guys, I don't see any questions. Did you guys have any questions? Or maybe I can't see them because I'm using this new streaming service, but I think I can. I see some people. Someone said they love the neti pot. I don't know who that is, but everything that I see here says Facebook user with a blank circle that is supposed to be your profile picture, but there's no picture. So if you haven't done it yet, just go ahead and let the stream, what is it called? The, what did I just call it? StreamYard. If you can allow them to access your profile, then I can see who you are, because I will be using this program. It was actually very easy to do. And I'm even going to start bringing on some guests. So stay tuned. I hope that you're enjoying our Mondays with Carlene, and getting some more health knowledge into you, and hopefully you can put it into action and actually start getting some results. So stay tuned into the group, and I'm going to put a link so that you can join the detox program. It's only $17, just enough to kind of cover my time. And I appreciate you guys so much. Love you. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you soon. Any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them after the video. Thanks.